Hello, everybody, and welcome to Punk Playback, where I, Sydney, listen to, enjoy, and review punk albums. A few things to kick this off. All opinions are my own, and you're free to disagree. What I consider punk or punk enough to be covered here will be up to my discretion, but it will mostly be punk rock, ska punk, hardcore, and maybe even some oddball crust punk and folk punk albums too. Everything I rate will be on a scale of 0.5 to 10. I will give the average rating at the end and the overall rating for this album at the end as well. To start this project, I decided that only one album would be fit to start us off, and that album is, of course, And Out Come the Wolves by Rancid. Released on August 22nd, 1995, it had three singles, Roots Radical, Time Bomb, and Ruby Soho. It features Tim Armstrong as lead vocals and guitar, Lars Fredriksson on vocals and guitar, the amazing Matt Freeman on bass and backing vocals, and Brett Reed on drums. Let's get right into it. Maxwell Murder, a 9.5 out of 10. One of the strongest punk songs that I could point to, especially for a beginner. Also the shortest song on the album, starting with the classic 10 seconds of church bell ambience and going to a fairly catchy Rancid hit. This song famously has one of the most popular and mind-breaking punk bass solos. Matt Freeman on the bass is second to none. The 11th Hour, a 9 out of 10 if I've ever heard one. Extremely catchy, and comes in just as quick as it leaves. The guitar pattern in the chorus sticks in your head plain and simple. Roots Radical, another 9 out of 10. One of the easiest songs on the album to sing along to. Mostly repetitive, but entirely memorable. So far, Rancid is 3 for 3 on this album. Time Bomb, 8.5 for sure. This song sounds like summer at the beach to me. The organ stands out and really makes an impression. Whenever I see fancy dress shoes, I will never not think of black coat, white shoes, black hat, Cadillac. Olympia, Washington, 8 out of 10. A very strong song overall, but this one kind of loses points because I seem to never understand what Tim is singing. Though I suppose that is the famous Tim Armstrong charm. The guitar is fantastic and really quite fun. Lock, Step, and Gone, 8 out of 10. I'm not a huge fan of the ambient intro. I think it's a bit harsh on the ears, and the lyrics of this one aren't quite as memorable. The bass is mixed to be a bit more punchy, I find, and I will compliment Matt's bass playing any chance I get. Junkie Man, 7.5 out of 10. The guitar is a little bit more boring in this song. This also features the monologue where the album gets its name from, the memoir The Basketball Diaries by Jim Carroll, though it makes little sense as a neat addition to a good song. Listed MIA, 8 out of 10. I actually have more fun with this song than the last. A shame they used the F slur on this song, but admittedly it was a different time. Regardless, that is featured on this track, and as much as I love it, that fact should be noted. Ruby Soho, 8.5 out of 10. One of the easiest songs on the album to learn to sing. No clue what Tim is singing most of the time, but fake it till you make it, I guess. The weakest of the three singles to come from this album, but a classic nonetheless. Dally City Train, 6.5 out of 10, honestly. I don't love this song. It's got elements of some of the things I really enjoy from previous songs. Personally, I find the lyrical elements to be meh. A good song still, and I wouldn't skip it, but I don't think of this song when I think of And Out Come the Wolves. Journey to the End of the East Bay, 9 out of 10. I think this one is an underrated classic that doesn't get the love it deserves. An excellent bass intro and a catchy chorus makes this song an absolute banger. She's Automatic, 8.5 out of 10. Immediately starts right into the action with no time to breathe. It's hard to hate this song because there's no fat to cut. It's purely great. Lars featuring on this song as lead vocals makes it so you can actually understand the words to this track. Old Friend, 8 out of 10. I actually enjoyed this track more than I remembered. It reminds me of early 2000s Rancid more than 90s Rancid. It sounds like it would be featured on 2003's Indestructible, alongside Fall Back Down and Red Hot Moon. Also, a mention of Cleveland, and as a Cleveland local, any mention of the land gets me hype. Disorder and Disarray, 7 out of 10. A solid song, but not particularly memorable, outside of the two-word chorus. Definitely far from bad, but not a standout on this legendary album. The War's End, 7 out of 10. I really didn't even remember this song, and I can sort of see why. It has a great instrumental section for a time, but it doesn't stick around, and that greatness doesn't necessarily carry to the rest of it. The verses are pretty boring, but I don't hate it. You Don't Care Nothing, 7.5 out of 10. I have fun with this song, and I'm a sucker for a drumroll intro, but it's far from the best. Not every good song has to be an amazing one, and that's alright. As Wicked, 8 out of 10. I like the chorus for this song. As Rancid has proven, they know how to write a catchy chorus. I'm also a sucker for some na-na-nas. Tim took the challenge to see how much he could get away with not pronouncing his words, but that's why we love him. Avenues and Alleyways, 8.5 out of 10. Another underrated classic buried at the end of this album. Who doesn't love a few oys in their song? The song also gets a few points because I really love the Street Dogs cover of the song. The Way I Feel. 6 out of 10. My least favorite song on this album. More na-na-nas, and I do love that, but it just doesn't strike so hard this time. Not much sticks out to me of this track, and that's a shame that it's a weaker finish for a great album. The average rating of this album was an 8 out of 10, but my overall rating would be an 8.5 out of 10. I love this album and I always will. It's a classic and everybody knows that. The album cover paying tribute to First 2 7 Inches by Minor Threat, which is another great album, is of course an amazing detail. It also does some of the most amazing bass playing, and it's impossible to overlook that. All in all, this is one of the definitive punk albums, and it deserves that respect. That has been the very first episode of the Punk Playback. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any album suggestions for me, you can leave it in the comments, or you can email it to me at punkplayback@gmail.com. It's been real. See ya.